In this session, we will take you through an example of an application form that was completed by a candidate. We'll also look at the guide. So this guide would actually help you to complete not only the CBA application form, but also your experience record. So it basically takes you through the different competencies, okay? And there is something worth knowing. So it says that amongst the 34, 6 professional standards competencies address crucial skills for engineering work in the province and have unique rating criteria. Now, these cover knowledge of regulations, codes, and standards, safety awareness, and other professional obligations, work experience from any country showing knowledge of engineering standards used in Canada or the international equivalent can demonstrate these competencies. For example, an applicant working at Shell, Nigeria, may use the same American Petroleum Institute standards as someone working for Shell, Canada. So basically, do not worry so much if your experience is outside of Canada. As long as you've stated the codes or standards that you applied, and if it is internationally recognized, you shouldn't worry. So that's basically what they're saying. So with regards to the rating system, information has been provided as to how the ratings are performed. And you can see the scale, it goes from 0 up to 5, showing leadership. It shows that you've really mastered that competence. So it tells you the role and responsibilities for each stakeholder here. So the applicant, the validator, and the assessor. So have a read regarding what to expect for each stakeholder. And then we talked about how to present your experience. So using the situation, action, and the outcome. It talks about how to assign validators and how to conduct self-assessment. Each of the competencies are described. So if you need to fill the competence, this describes exactly what to consider as you write the competence. So what we'll do is I'm going to show you an example of an experience record, and then we'll look at the completed CBA. So this is the experience record form. Okay, so the competency-based assessment experience records. Very straightforward. Fill out your date, your file number, which you get from the PEO, last name, your first name. And when this document is completed, you're required to send it to this email. So list your experience in a chronological order. So the first one, your company name, address, start date, state whether it's your current role or not. And then you talk about your responsibilities. So you can write it in a bullet form. And the thing to be mindful about is whatever information you're putting down, make sure that it is contributing to your overall assessment, because you're going to be judged on every single information you put in. So this job responsibility is very descriptive. It talks about what the candidate did. It talked about the fact that the candidate led, there was some leadership Okay. Some project management, technical aspect as well. So we would provide copies of these experience records form and also the CBA, so you can consult and basically use them as templates as you prepare your own. So that's the second work experience example, just like the first one. You can put it in bullet points, or you could use paragraphs if you prefer. The most important thing is you are capturing what you did. And then the third one, using the same philosophy, list out what exactly you did. Next one. And we get to the self-assessment rating sheet. So it's important that you get an alignment with your validators. So everyone should speak the same language, yourself and the validator. So for instance, for the competence 1.1, this candidate has a rating of 3 and the validator agrees. So you use the same philosophy to complete this section for all the competencies. Now, do not hesitate to be conservative in your rating. So if you feel a rating of 3 or 4 is too optimistic, do not hesitate to scale it down. The most important thing is get the opinion of your validator. So you do the same for all the competencies, competence category 3, 4, right to the very end. Now, with regards to the validator information, it is possible, and in fact, it is often the case for most candidates, that they would have more than one validator. What you're expected to do is to note the names of the validator and state the sections, so the competencies that the validators are going to read and provide their opinion. So that's exactly what this candidate has done here. So the first name, last name, and then put the numbers of the competencies, state the company, the email address, and then for validators that have got PEO, professional engineering license, make sure you state the number. So you do the same for the second validator, and if you have a third validator, you do the same. State their names and then the competencies that they are providing an opinion on. And then there's going to be a declaration right at the end and then a signature. So that is the experience records form, and we would have a look at the CBA form. So this is what it looks like. So competency-based assessment, P.Eng application form. So the applicant starts by stating their full name, file number, and then you go right into the different competencies. So like I said, I'm providing this as a template that you can download and reference as you write your report. So situation, action, and the outcome. So this is for the first competence, which is basically demonstrate your knowledge and awareness of the regulations, codes, and standards used in Canada or the international standard equivalents. This includes local engineering procedures and practice as applicable. What I have seen is competencies 1.1 to 1.10. Most candidates like to have a validator that is a P.Eng in Canada. So without going into the details of each of the different competence, like I said, this is downloadable. Feel free to use this as a reference. Be mindful that you are limited by the number of characters that you can use. So this has been provided as an example, but obviously as you prepare your report, make sure that you respect the character limits. Okay. So 1.2 is demonstrate knowledge of materials or operations as appropriate project and design constraints designed to best fit the purpose or service intended and address interdisciplinary impacts. So situation, action taken, and the outcome. So the candidates are expected to use the same principle and complete this CBA. Like I said, you can always make reference to the guide. The guide describes each competency and tells you what example you can provide. If you go through this and you go through the completed CBA that has been provided, you shouldn't have any trouble. If you still require help, do not hesitate to contact us and we would help you to prepare a CBA report based on the input data that you have provided. So that's something we've done for so many candidates and we will be very happy to help you. So thank you very much for watching and we wish you the very best as you prepare to become P.Eng, and we'll see you in the very next lecture. Bye bye.